I'm Bob
All right.
Hallmark in studio in Longview today, and as August comes in, comes the August heat. It is not unusual for us to get triple-digit weather out there, and with that, it means that water sources for wildlife may begin to dry up. And as that water source dries up, animals, all kinds of wildlife will be looking for water, and that includes rats and mice. Now, rats and mice will look for feed and water sources. The problem there is rats and mice draw another predator, which is snakes, venomous and non-venomous. So what do you do and how should you handle an encounter with one of these things? Now, to shed some light on that, we're joined now by Kim Barlow. Kim, welcome to the show. I guess tell everybody what you do.
Thank you, Bob. I'm a Texas State Park police officer with Texas Parks and Wildlife Department.
Okay. I guess the first thing that we want to do is educate people. If you have an encounter with one of these serpents, I guess what should people do immediately?
If you encounter a snake in the wild, especially if you're an untrained professional, you're not used to being around snakes, I would leave it alone.
Okay. Now, one of the common mistakes people make is, and I just found us out this the other day, is that people will leave water sources, puddles, even animal feed out in the open that can draw rats and mice, and that can be a problem, right?
Yes, sir, it can. A great example of this is a leaky exterior faucet. People, they need their faucets, they turn them off and on. Unfortunately, in the hotter months of the year, a leaky faucet can bring in reptiles. For example, a pit viper, which would be a venomous snake, will coil up underneath the leaky faucet, and you'll see it there. And what it's doing is it's waiting to ambush its prey, or it just is in that area for the cooler temperatures. But they do tend to frequent areas with dripping water, such as a leaky outdoor faucet.
Now, there's the problem right there. If you don't know what you're dealing with, people should be smart about how they react to something like this. Fortunately, most people realize that any kind of a serpent can bite, and they will shy away from it. So, in your experience, it would probably be a good idea to back away and not force the issue with the serpent like this.
Yes, sir, that would be my recommendation. I've been doing this job for over 6 years, and I've had lots of encounters with reptiles, with various snake species. I mean, we almost have 100 species of snake in Texas. The majority of those are actually non-venomous. But I still encourage people, even though there's way more non-venomous snakes in Texas than there are venomous, I still encourage people, if you don't know what it is, leave it alone. Back away, like you said, and don't pick it up. There's no reason to take that unnecessary risk.
Okay. And therein lies another important thing that we want to pass on to people. Don't kill indiscriminately a snake because they're very important to the ecosystem. If we did not have snakes, we would be overrun in rats and mice. So it's not a good idea to just kill one of them.
Yes, sir. On multiple levels, it's not good. I'm a conservation officer professionally, and we have laws that regulate our snake species in Texas. We have snake species in Texas that are endangered. We have some that are threatened, and there are proper ways to go about removing a snake. And if a snake is on your property and it's unwanted, you can seek professional help in getting that snake moved if you are untrained in how to handle snakes. In addition, like you said, they are very beneficial to the environment. Snakes are not bad. They're here for a reason. And like you said, they do help manage rodent populations. And believe it or not, we have snakes that also manage other snake populations. For example, the non-venomous king snake, it eats other venomous snakes, such as the copperhead or a western cottonmouth, snakes that frequent East Texas.
Now, for those, and I know from doing some research on this, we have 4 snakes in this state that are venomous that we know of. The copperheads, the rattlesnakes, the cottonmouths, as well as the coral snake. Now, the coral snakes are very rare. I think in my lifetime I've only seen one. It's very unlikely that you'd ever run into one to begin with. But if you do run into one of these venomous snakes, and let's say worse comes to worse, you get bit. I'm guessing now some people will suffer a dry bite and not get any venom, but it's probably your recommendation if you do run into one of these things. Let's say you reach your hand in behind a wood pile or something and you get popped, something like that. I would guess you would immediately need to seek medical attention.
Yes, sir. I would always refer. I am by no means a medically trained professional, but I would always encourage someone that has been bit or thinks that they've been bit by a venomous snake to reach out to medical professionals. If you are bit and injected with venom, again, there is a need for medical help. And I tell people often there's a difference between venom and poison, right? Venom is you're injected by. Poison is something that that you ingest, for example. So I think if someone is bitten by a snake and they know it's a venomous snake, seek medical professional help. It helps to identify that snake too. If there's some way they can get a photo of that snake or something of that nature, it helps medical professionals choose the right um, anti-venom to give to give that individual.
Okay, and I guess the final thought here is your advice to people on how to minimize encounters with snakes. I know people have a bad habit of leaving feed out. They'll leave, water out for animals at night. Well, what would you advise people to do to minimize their contact with snakes?
So common things that attract snakes, we've already mentioned a leaky faucet. There's a way that you can fix that leaky faucet. That's one way that you might avoid an unwanted contact with snake species. Also, they'll frequent wood piles. If you keep wood piles close to your home, I would encourage you maybe organize it differently. Clutter in your yard. People that don't rake their leaves, snakes will, be often found under loose leaves that are on the ground, in the cooler months. So I would just organize your property. If you have lots of clutter, again, try to find a way to best organize that clutter or minimize that clutter. Any gaps in your home, just be aware of those where those are at. If you can seal them at all possible, I'd encourage people to do so as well.
Okay. Cam Barlow, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you, Bob.
All right. We will have much more on this story tonight on KLTV 7 News. For KLTV Web Extra, I'm Bob Hallmark.